that rolling. And then we're going to start in just a moment. Got a great class for you today. We're going to talk all about the meridians. Got a good guide for you today to the meridians, and we'll take some volunteers. All right, so you can go hang out on YouTube if you want. That is ready to roll. We're going to get started in just a moment. So I've got some awesome information for you. And if you'd like to volunteer to get a scan this morning, you're absolutely welcome to do that. So let's talk about a few things, and then we've got some fun guides for you as well. So first of all, we do have our events page. So on the events page, you can look for different trainings that we have. The basics class, we are adjusting that. So we're not going to have the basics, just the basics will not be, but you can stop by, hang out with Benet, who is our trainer. You may have had an orientation with her. You can hang out with her on, I think it's Tuesday mornings. And we also, yes, we have a Q&A. Yeah, tomorrow she's going to be there actually at 8 a.m. Pacific. So you can check out that class. And then we're going to have some other weekly classes coming up. So you can check those out at our events page. I also want to make you aware of a new, I want to make you aware of our new practitioner site. So let's look at that. We have a new site for the practitioners. We do ask that you have completed level 1. So we're going to ask that you've completed just practitioner level 1 at a minimum, and then you can ask to be listed on the practitioner site. Let's also make sure that this is being recorded. A warm welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It's a beautiful day today, and we have so much to share with you. I'm super excited. So the practitioner courses have been held over at very, very special pricing. So we just ask that you complete a minimum of biofeedback practitioner level 1 to be listed on the site, because we are helping to promote your practice, and we would like to know that you sort of know some of the basics. So in the practitioner course, everyone who has taken it has found it to be very, very helpful for them to get to know their practice of biofeedback. And let's go ahead and get this set up. So we do have a special going on practitioner level 1. It's actually 50% off the regular pricing. So also we have practitioners that are already listed. So the practitioners who've completed level 1, you can see their listings here, and now people will be able to see where your practice is. And we hope to get many, many more people listed on the site. So we'd love to have you get listed on the site. And we also want to feature you through a series of podcasts that we're doing to interview people in the area of energy medicine, but also to feature your practice. So if you would be willing to just chat with me for about 30 minutes and talk about your practice, we'd love to promote you through that video podcast. And we're going to upload that podcast to everywhere that podcasts are available. So some of our great practitioners, if you're out there and you have something you think you could talk about, your experience of your practice, we really want to feature you. Okay, so we do ask that you've completed level 1. So please try to remember that you've completed level 1. If you think you haven't completed level 1, please get in touch with me. So we do have this special, which is 50% off. So the practitioner level 1 is usually $797. It's been reduced to $397. It's on the website, and you can also get installments. So there's an installment plan right on the page for the practitioner level 1. We're going to talk today about the meridians in just a moment. So we're going to get ready to do that. Let's see if we can make Zoom behave here. And we will take some volunteers. So if you'd like to volunteer, go ahead and make sure that you put your date of birth into the chat area. All right, let's just go ahead and get the practitioner level 1 link. So you have that if you'd like to read about it. So just the strategies and protocols of being a genius practitioner, we would like to know that you sort of know that. So we're going to send this to everyone. And definitely thank you for volunteers. Let's get a few other pieces of information up for you. We actually have a Quanta capsule workshop for you on Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Wednesday at 4 o'clock Pacific. So let's just say Wednesday, March 23rd at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And that's a free workshop. So I'll be hosting that workshop if you want to come and talk about the Quanta capsule. There are always lots of juicy questions about the Quanta capsule. And let's go ahead and get that on the board there. So for example, one of the most common questions about the Quanta capsule is the Quanta capsule able to work remotely? So your Quanta capsule is like a Rife generator. You have to be close to it or listening to the sounds in order to benefit from the Quanta capsule. So every question you want to know about the Quanta capsule, and I'll be answering your questions. If you need troubleshooting, if you need help with something, if you need to activate your capsule, just come to class and hang out with us for the hour of class, and we'll try to get all of your questions answered. We want you to build your practice. Now, we do have a special on the Quanta capsule. If you want to get a 10-pack on the Quanta capsule, there's a huge discount going on right now for the 10-pack. And we'll probably do that for the 20, but you could just get 2 10-packs if you want to. So right now, the 10-pack used to be $520 until the day of the workshop. So the end of the day of the workshop, starting right now, you can actually get 10 capsules for $397. So usually they're $520 for 10 capsules. If you go to the website right now, geniusbiofeedback.com, until we do our Quanta capsule workshop, you can get it for $397. So $520 versus $397. So we're having a limited time special where you can get a great price on your Quanta capsules. We also have some information about some processes for you today that we shared in the weekly email. So here is a process for you about anti-aging and working with the telomeres. So if you want to do an anti-aging process with the Genius, a lot of these processes are just the main part of the system overview so that anyone could do it. We also have one for brain optimization. Here's a guide for you about a process you can do for brain optimization. And for anybody dealing with heart stuff, high blood pressure, things like that, there's one for the microcirculation. And we share these in our weekly email. So if you think that you didn't get our weekly email newsletter, then you can definitely let me know that. And we have that for you. So we have a Quanta capsule event coming up on the 23rd at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. It's just completely free. You can come hang out with me. We're going to talk all about the Quanta capsule, how you use it in your practice. And we have many, many questions about the Quanta capsule. So I just want to do a live for you so you can learn more about it and use it in your practice. Okay, we have a new practitioner site. For those of you coming in, you may be looking at it. You can actually apply to list your practice, but we do ask that you have a minimum of practitioner level 1 because we are promoting you and we just want to let you know that we just want to let people know that you do know your basics about the Genius. So what we're going to do is we are going to pre-sell some sessions, and then we'll go ahead and we'll assign it to the first person who is available to do that session at that person's requested time, or they can just get in touch with you directly. So that you're going to have all of your contact information there. They can just call you and they can make the appointment with you directly. They don't have to book through us, not at all. We just want to help you to grow your practice and help you to be successful. They can pre-purchase a session and then we'll contact the first person available and see if we can book it or somebody who's a fit for them, or they can just book it with you directly. Where is the Wednesday event? We just posted the link for that. So Audra, please check the links that we just sent. Maybe you just came in, but let's go ahead and post it again. So I've arrived with all the links today. So here's the link for this link is going to be for the Quanta capsule workshop. And thank you so much for checking that out. And of course, yes, Linda, all of our sessions are recorded. So very good question. It'll be recorded and available for you after the class. Okay, another thing that we're going to do today is all about the meridians. So we got a guide for you, a fun, quick guide for the meridians. See if I can actually find it here. Came armed with all the guides ready to roll today. So here we go, meridians, quick guide, and then we'll talk about them. Joanne says, good morning from Tucson. I know Tucson well. Good morning to you. Beautiful, beautiful place, especially this time of year. So beautiful. Go for a fun hike in Sabino Canyon or other places in Tucson. So welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for arriving here today. We're going to talk today about the meridians and how important it is to utilize and enjoy the meridian section of the genius. So we do have a guide for that. Let's see if we can get it actually up here. So you can download this guide. We just put it in there. It comes in the form of a link, and then you just download it and you can see it here. We're going to talk all about that. And we're going to do that by getting some sessions rolling and taking some volunteers. So let's go ahead and can also get the PDF version. Also, this is an opportunity for you to ask your questions. If you have questions today about anything about the genius, we can certainly look at those questions today and talk about them. Let's actually replace this one with this one. All right. So the meridians of the genius, we're going to bring the genius up here in just 1 second. And let's go ahead and keep that there. The meridians represent the mind, the body, and the spirit. The time that we think that the meridians we find information about the meridians was about 2,500 years ago, but there's evidence that an understanding of the meridians existed even longer than that, much, much longer, more than 2,500 years. We've understood that there are certain energetic channels moving through the body, and they were mapped out by Dr. Kim Bong Han, which we've talked about him. He actually mapped out by using a tracer within the body, and he was able to show through this tracer that indeed the energy does move through the body in this fashion through the meridian flow. So the meridians do indeed exist, and they do flow through the body according to those channels. So your body is made up of energy, and you are a combination of mind, body, and spirit. We don't want this up here right now. You are a combination of mind, body, and spirit. And so the meridians sort of embody that part of yourself. It's instead of just being one physical aspect that you might test with the genius, when you utilize the meridians, you're addressing your emotional self, your mental self, your physical self. The meridians are channels that flow all throughout the body, and they are going through an organ. So the liver meridian runs through the liver, but it also goes to other parts of the body. And they're well visualized through the genius, and we'll look at that. So within the genius system, you can actually see all the meridians of the body. And we're going to cover that as well. So you should really take advantage of looking at those animations within the genius to be able to see more of what's going on and gain a better understanding of the meridians. So I think it's helpful to use the meridians in every case that you're doing, since they're so all-encompassing. And you can really learn a lot about the person by paying attention to which meridians are out of balance, especially with a good guide for you to begin to learn them. But you can also begin to think about the different meridians when you learn them, when you're working on particular cases. So for example, if you're working with someone with vision issues, you can think about the liver meridian because it's so related to eyesight. If you're working with someone with diabetes, you want to think about the spleen meridian because the spleen chi deficiency is very related to blood sugar imbalances. If you're working with someone with tendon issues, ligament laxity, that's also the liver meridian. So you want to think about these energy centers and begin to learn about them in order to engage them for the cases that you're working with. Okay, and I know you do have some questions. I'm just going to turn the camera off for just 1 second here while we get our volunteers. Just stop that just for 1 minute. And we're going to continue our conversation. Okay, so the meridians are very, very powerful. And even we have, good morning. I have a client with a bad respiratory problem, dry cough and so forth. Well, that's lung meridian. So you really want to look into the lung meridian, and then you want to learn about the paired meridian, which is going to be the large intestine meridian. So Adina, go ahead and look at that lung and large intestine. I guarantee one of them is probably going to be an issue. So there was also another great question that has been really interesting for people to ask, and I want to talk about it as well. Let's get our volunteer ready to roll here. So let's see who volunteered today to be worked on. So I think that was Deborah. Deborah, you volunteered. So Deborah, we're going to bring you up today to have some work done today to be our volunteer. So we're going to look for you here in the chat. And let's go ahead and bring you up here as a panelist, so it's easy to find you. See if you've got, just check your video and check your camera so we can work with you. There we go. Okay, so Deborah, you can unmute yourself and join us here, and we're going to work on your meridians. So we'll find out how you're doing. Okay, Deborah. Oh, you're back for more. I love it. Deborah was part of our trivia contest. So Deborah, how are you today?
I'm doing okay.
Good, good.
Doing all right.
What are you working on? Anything in particular for yourself?
Yes. I have like tendon issues.
Oh, great. Now, so see, that's associated with the liver meridian. Did you know that previous to this?
Yes, I've been studying. I've been really actually trying to study as much as I can on meridians.
Okay, fantastic. I love it. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to get your voice. So let's go ahead and I'll cue you. And in just a few moments, I'll start recording your voice. I'll record it in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
I'm Deborah Warren, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U. I would like to work on my tendon problems, especially with my knee. A-E-I-O-U.
Great. And you can always say an affirmation and think about it in the present. My knee is completely free of any tendon issue and all the connections and support, right? Tendons are about support. So in the same way, we often have chronic back pain is related to not feeling supported in the world. There could be an element of some type of support issue that's related to your tendons, because your tendons support your muscles. Your tendons support your body in general. The structure of your body is what I meant to say.
Yeah, what's really crazy though is my back has cleared up. It's just my knee.
And then
now.
just the tendons. Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe it's related to that liver meridian issue. Have you checked? Is the liver meridian something that comes up for you?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. All right. So let's see if we can take our picture here. If we're successful at being able to do this. Quick smile from you. Beautiful. Okay. Now, I know we have some other little things there in the picture. It doesn't really influence it that much. The genius is pretty intelligent and is able to just pick up the person. The one thing I think that's good that you do with your pictures is just don't have another person, because I think the energetic imprint of the person. So I wouldn't, take the two together or have somebody else in the picture. That type of thing really makes a difference. Let's think of an energetic affirmation. What could be a good affirmation related to your tendons?
Like you said, my knee my knee is feeling better every day.
Okay, my knee, and if I could spell, my knee is feeling better and better each day. Okay. So we're going to say okay. And when we say okay, then it's going to take all of those letters and phrases and it's going to incorporate them. And then when we run the genius and we play frequencies for you or the person that we're working on, it plays all of those elements in the background. So Sophie, you are correct. Just in trying to get this together very, very quickly, and before our class, I did not put the governing meridian or the conception vessel. So we did the 12 main meridians, and we can come back and talk about those other 2 in the future. So just these meridians for today. So let's go ahead and do begin analysis. And so we're going to work on you, Deborah, and then we'll come back and talk with you in just a little bit. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much for volunteering. I like that you're always up for adventure and going for it and being an active part of our community. I don't know if there's any other community of quantum biofeedback or similar technology that has our active Facebook group where people are talking about cases or sharing. We just have such a really keen to learn and participate community. So I thank all of you for that. I think we're really unique in the passion that people have for the genius. And I think it comes through when people talk about it, or even when people do sessions on each other. So thank you for that. Let's look a little bit more at this case, and then we're going to look specifically at the meridians that are coming up for her and different ways that you can utilize the meridians. So question of the day that I've seen come across my desk is, I'm new to the genius, and I do one session on myself. I do a scan, and then I decide I just want to test the machine. I do another scan, and it's very different. So what are your ideas about when you test yourself or a client, and then you come back in and it appears to be different? What are your ideas or thoughts about this? So as we look at this, we do see a lot of liver energy in this particular scan. So we actually can see that sort of mustard color to the aura is almost always associated with sort of digestive, bile, gallbladder. And so it sort of plays through to this thought about the liver meridian. So for you, continuing to work castor oil, packed green juices, carrot juice, burdock, milk thistle, dandelion, glutathione, anything you can do to sort of clear up that digestive system, do frequencies for that, liver assessment, liver solutions type of thing could be really, really powerful. So wonderful, wonderful, good starting point. Now let's just dive in and let's look at those meridians. So you could do an entire session just working on the meridians. Like you could just do the meridians. You could do the meridians in the beginning. You could do a meridians clearing. You could just start with an overall clearing of the meridians because they're so all encompassing. They're going to relate to emotional imbalances. They're going to relate to physical imbalances. They're even going to relate to mental imbalances. So wouldn't it be cool if you could just go to a doctor and you say you have depression, they say, well, gosh, maybe it's your bladder meridian that's out of balance. Let's go ahead and run the genius now and balance your meridians. And then we can have your body can then be stimulated to heal itself. Wouldn't that be absolutely wonderful? So lo and behold, there you go. Absolutely amazing. I've worked with the genius now for almost 10 years. And it is amazing that it really does ring true with the results. And the liver meridian is paired with the gallbladder meridian. We don't necessarily see that one out of balance, but we certainly see the liver meridian. If we look at this guide, it says the liver meridian detoxifies, the liver is connected to vision, the liver meridian. The liver transforms nutrients into usable substances. It rules the ligaments, the tendons. Hypertension is the result of an imbalanced liver meridian. So when you have somebody with high blood pressure, now start to think of the liver meridian. The positive emotion is kindness and the negative emotion is anger. So when we think about people with negative emotions, we can have compassion for them because they may have a meridian that's really imbalanced. So these are things to think about as you're working with someone. What is their emotional state? Even their emotional state, if they were angry all the time or bitter, might give you an indication of the particular meridian it's related to. So we're going to go ahead and tap on the meridian itself. This actually is an amazing part of the Genius program. This is a standalone program in and of itself. Let's go ahead and click on the Meridian. Now, as we're looking at the Meridian, we see the pattern of depletion. We see no reds. You know, when someone is first challenged with something that they need to work through, we can see a lot of red because they have the resilience to be able to push back, and they're sort of trying to push or balance out the issue. And so we could see lots of red. But if the issue goes on for some period of time, we can actually see sort of an exhaustion and a depletion. And then we might see more blue, or we might only see yellow. So we don't see any red, not because there's no red or nothing out of balance per se, but they've actually lost a little bit of push and energetic ability to push through the issue. It's sort of like an energetic state of exhaustion. So that is something that we would want to observe. And as we go down here, we see liver 9 at 46. So we'd want to include it. And I think we should include also the lower ones, maybe up to the 200s, because we don't have a lot to work with here. And we definitely want to include the 600, and let's include the 591 as well. So the liver is all about detoxifying the blood. The liver meridian is also related to good vision. It's related to good ligaments. It's related to healthy tendons. The liver meridian is very, very important overall, like a major meridian to be balanced. And the liver transforms nutrients into usable substances. When you think about it, it's really important to overall digestion. If we're just focusing on the organ, we know that the organ is so complex and it does something like over 400 different chemical processes in the body. It's certainly responsible for detoxification, and it creates bile, which helps us to break down fats, which is part of the digestive function. So let's go ahead and, yes, we already are aware that we didn't include conception and governing vessels. Thank you so much. So let's go ahead and let's have everybody be able to participate in the conversation. So let's maybe take a break. If you're chatting a lot, maybe take a break and let other people participate as well. Okay, in the libraries, there's a large group called the Gene Activation Series. Can you explain these further and how they're used? So we actually have a guide. If you didn't receive the guide, we've been trying to put all of the guides for all of the libraries related to your package into the learning portal. If you don't see it in the learning portal under the portal for the guides, then please contact me. We do have a total download guide to the gene keys. The gene keys are based on a book by, I'm forgetting his name, but you can look him up online. You can get the Gene Keys book, and you can read all about your gene keys are all about your DNA, things that are in your DNA, things that are exclusive to you. You can do a free download to find out all about your gene keys based on your date of birth. So then let's see what we've got here. All right, awesome. Okay, thank you guys. Really, really appreciate it. Okay, Richard Rudd, thank you, Kelly. Hey, Kelly is here, and I know that she's worked a lot with the other gal who is in Costa Rica now, who's done a lot. She really brought us the download about the gene keys. So Kelly, thank you so much for sharing that. So we would work on this particular meridian, and then we would look for the meridian pair. So the meridian is paired with a gallbladder. So we can also, even though it's 338, I would include the gallbladder, and lo and behold, it has a lot of elements that are coming up. So remember that not everything in the Genius, like this is just testing for the highest prioritization meridian at this moment. But it doesn't mean there aren't other meridians that are good to look at. So let's go ahead and look at the gallbladder one more time. Now, to the question, new gal said, oh gosh, I did a scan, a Genius scan, and then I recorded my voice and picture again, and I did a new scan, and it's all different. It's actually not that different. If you really look from scan to scan, you really see the same digestive issues, the same liver issues, but the Genius is not like, you know, running your Xerox machine. We're not looking for a duplicate. There are many different parts to this. first of all, every time you do a scan, you actually will be balancing yourself in some way. So even just when you push the button, you do a scan, there's a certain change that's happening even in the scan itself, just pushing the button and getting an analysis. It's actually working on you as you're doing a scan. Then the balancing itself, of course, further helps to harmonize. But even if you do no scan at all, I mean, we're doing our best interpretation of your frequency at the moment. And so this is then another interpretation of your frequency. It's not going to be an exact duplicate of the numbers. But it is very, very consistent. And the algorithms of the Genius have been tested over and over again by the developer to make sure that they stand up from scan to scan. So my personal experience, even working from 1 week to another with a client, is I will see very similar patterns. Yes, things begin to shift and change because you're working with the person, but almost always if they have a sort of like a liver imbalance, you see it again. If they have a hormonal imbalance, you see it again. If it's always something to do with structure, spine, whatever it is, you always see it reflected. So I challenge anyone to really learn how to read the Genius and then look at the results, and you are going to see a difference. It's sort of like trying to put your hand in a stream and the stream is flowing. Are you ever going to be able to touch the same part of the stream again? You're constantly shifting and changing. So these numbers and results are going to be different, but the pattern overall, when you look at the different things that are echoing together, the digestive imbalance, the spleen issue, whatever it is, will show up pretty consistently in my experience. Okay, so very, very good. So for the gallbladder, let's go ahead and let's include all of the meridians down into the main hold tray. So you can actually tap on a meridian and it can tell you some things about the particular meridian. So this is facial paralysis, eye problems, ptosis of the lower eyelid, difficulty in closing the eyes, blurring of vision, eye pain. What I would take away from this is there could be some vision changes or issue. So you can look at those and see if they relate to the case at all. Let's include all of the lower blue items. Question for Medina, can I use this when I do Bodyworks acupressure in the client meridians? Sure, you can definitely use this as a hint to where to apply acupressure. You could also put some of the meridians up, some of the points up into the quick zap. So let's look at that. Let's go ahead and we'll use the bulk drag and drop by putting some of the items up here into the quick zap, and you could just work with the meridian points, and you could also include into that the actual meridian itself. And then when you have something that you're working on, you can also ask what sort of potentiators or pieces could you add to the equation. So we know that you could include the solfeggios, right? You could include 528. This is interesting that 417 came up. So undoing situations, facilitating change. And then we also can include something like 2885, which is about restoring organ and tissue to its natural home frequency. You can include the 963. And you can create a little mini balancing at the beginning of your case, maybe for a few minutes. So we could have probably worked with the liver meridian up here if we wanted to. That was the main meridian that was out of balance. But you can do these quick balances sort of interspersed with your larger overall balances that are happening in the main hold tray. The Ring of Fire is a series of traditional Chinese medicine points that have been shown in studies that when you use the Ring of Fire frequencies, that they will help to improve DHEA and different hormones in the body. So you can look for that. Libraries on the website, or for you, Adina, if you have it, it'll just be under our Ring of Fire. And so thank you. Thank you. The portal is in the learning portal. That's the Kajabi login. So if you don't know where that is, everybody who got one of our packages here has access to that portal. Biofeedback.mykajabi. And if you've never logged in, you should log in with your email and password. Would it be a good idea to use this as a separate playlist in the Quanta capsule? So that's another great idea. is if you're working with someone, you could get their main meridian that's out of balance and just export those to the quantum capsule. So that's a great idea. I love that idea. Would you include the solfeggios and the Bach flower essences? So you were way ahead of me. Definitely, you could include them up into the quick zap, or you could include them down into the main whole tray. So you could take the top solfeggios and also include them with the meridians. Let's look at the other meridians that were out of balance for her. So let's go back to the meridians themselves and let's look at the pattern of the meridians and see if we can learn more here. So first of all, the meridians itself, like the meridians line there, is actually at 47. So we know that's sort of telling us about depletion within the meridians itself. Link not working, biofeedback.mykajabi.com. All right, well, look, it's not worth sort of going back and forth trying to fish out that link. If you've never logged into our learning portal, then just contact us, Ariel at geniusbiofeedback.com, and we'll definitely get you entry to the portal. The portal includes all of the guides that were included in your package, and you can find them there. Let's continue on our discussion so we can make the most of our time together. So in the meridians library, right, in that meridians panel, you have all the meridians, including the governing and the conception vessel. So you want to look at the meridians, look at the pattern here. There's no red, and that played through to the liver meridian. So just as we saw in the liver meridian itself, there's no red. So there's that sign of sort of depletion, right? And then the two main meridians are actually the liver meridian, which we suspected, and the kidney meridian. So we can, so I got choked up there. We can go to the one thing we didn't talk about in the liver meridian. Let's actually go back and look at it. And then we'll talk about the kidney meridian. So in the liver meridian itself, you can also look at the diagrams. You can also look up the meridians online. And so you can see where the meridian is on the person. So you see the meridian running through the body and of course, running through the actual physical meridian. And you can look and see where are the other points. So you've got a point on the chest. You've got a point down on the leg here. You've got points going down to the feet. And then you can match these points to the ones that are coming up for the person. So liver 9 is right here. So it's on the inside of the leg. And interestingly enough, it's right around, didn't she say the knee? So it's right around the knee and even close to those tendons. A tendon is a piece of connective tissue that connects muscle to a bone. So it's all about support, right? Giving support. And so it's interesting that it's actually in the physical location. So she might want to find liver 9 and actually just study some of the key points. You could probably just watch a couple of YouTube videos about the key points of acupressure, how to apply pressure, physical pressure to that area. If you learn about the different ways you can put essential oils on the point, you could actually yourself, you could get something which is known as moxibustion. So you could learn moxibustion, you could actually apply, you have to be careful, right? Because you're learning with fire and heat to the actual point itself. Okay, so we want to continue. Let's go ahead and look at the kidney meridian. So the kidney meridian is the lowest. So the things that are low are of interest to us because they're the most compressed points, right? Not a lot of energy is flowing through this particular meridian. Oh gosh. So I think the kidney meridian also is not on here. So we'll definitely do a part 2 next week, and we'll bring the pericardium, we'll bring the governing vessel. Also, if you have the mastery guide, every meridian is in the mastery guide. And the kidney meridian, you can think about the kidney meridian as being the seat of fear. So a lot of fear rests in the kidney meridian. It is the pair to the bladder meridian. So the other pair to the kidney meridian is the bladder meridian. They go hand in hand. They have similar emotions. So the negative emotion is fear. The positive emotion, it says here, gentleness, or feeling sort of calm and relaxed and confident, right? The absence of fear. So bladder, kidney, bladder infection, incontinence, bladder issues. These are all related to kidney and bladder. So we also, it runs through the kidney itself. The kidney filters the blood. We can put a lot of pressure on the kidneys with maybe high protein diets or high salt diets. So we want to be careful and mindful of that as well. And then we also can enlarge this right here. We can look at very similar. If you think about where we saw the liver meridian, we see something similar with that here. That kidney meridian sort of runs close to it in parallel, which is also very interesting. So we can look through the different meridians and look at where the points are the most. So we see kidney 6, kidney 9, and kidney 14. So kidney 14 is down at the bottom. So you could take that little point right here, kidney 14, and you could really stimulate that point with acupressure. You could look at kidney 6 is actually, where is kidney 6? A lot of you in essential oils know that kidney 1 point, right? Being a very essential point. The mentor that I worked with in naturopathic medicine would say that the kidney 1 point would be great to stimulate in the morning by taking off shoes, socks, going outside and just walking on the grass. It will stimulate that kidney 1 point. So we also see, I think we're just not seeing where kidney 6 is. So if you ever see that these diagrams don't embody all the points, then let the developer know so we can make sure that we cover. Oh, I see what this is. This is actually kidney 6 right here. So I'm saying the wrong point. This is actually kidney 3, kidney 4, kidney 5, kidney 6, and kidney 12, which are right here down at the bottom, or kidney 2. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so I'm so sorry. I am reading these wrong. This is kidney number 1. This is kidney number 2. This is kidney number 3, 4, 5, and 6. Looks like 16. So the points are all correct on here. And then this is where all of the sort of the teen points are, 11, 12. And it's interesting what, just think about what the kidney is, sort of that kidney energy is flowing through, on the body, because that is going to relate to the kidney meridian as well. Let's see if there's any other meridians on here. So we've got the triple heater that's going to be related to digestion. The highest one up at the top is 662. When you have a meridian, which is that higher number, then you want to consider it more if it only goes up to 662. So when the highest number is 662, it doesn't go up into the 700s. You really want to strongly consider that one as being a high priority item, even though it's not even in blue, because there are other factors that have to do with that person's chi, with their energetic state, that is influencing that particular score. So for the large intestine, the master of transportation, paired with the lungs. So think about that. When somebody is not breathing correctly, they actually could have their large intestine not working properly. If the large intestine is not working properly, that could influence the person's respiratory system, their lung function. So it's so important to know about these energetic relationships, and Western medicine just completely is sort of clueless about these connections and how important they are. So the lung and large intestine are intimately related. The large intestine balances the body fluids and works with the lungs in perspiration, the ability to sweat. The ability to sweat is incredibly important. If you know someone who does not sweat very well, then that is going to be some imbalance in the meridians. So the lungs control perspiration. The lungs are also related. See, there's the lungs, the large intestine. There's one that's related to, let me just see if I can get this here. Yeah, so the lungs, which are paired with the large intestine, let's just see where lungs are here. The lungs are sort of balanced. It's interesting, the lungs are balanced at that same score or similar score as the gallbladder. But with the lung meridian, what I want you to know about that, it's related to the health of the skin. So it's interesting that the respiration, right, the health of the lung meridian. So if you know someone with eczema, psoriasis, chronic skin issues, now I want you to think about employing or utilizing the lung meridian, even if it's not red or blue per se, to incorporate the lung meridian. So it tells us the lung is the prime minister. The lungs connect to the mind. The mind is very related to good breathing and emotions, assists with the energy and circulating the blood imbalances that cause us upper respiratory infections. So when we're frightened about that we're going to go out and catch something, some upper respiratory infection, let's go ahead and let's really strengthen that lung meridian by placing the lung meridian itself, right? So this isn't actually out of balance, but this is just an example. The lung meridian and then all of the points in the lung meridian. So we could do all of the yellow, all of the green, and all of the blue. Oh, it's going into the wrong tray. So let's try that again. The yellow, the green, and the blue. And then we have all the points. And then think about what are the different elements that you could use to really expand the energy, to really harmonize the energy. So what you could do is you could go to the other parts of the genius and include the nogier that is related to the lungs. And let's just say it's nogier C, right? So you could include that particular nogier. You could include different spinal energies that are related to the lungs. And you can use the desk reference success cards are really clear about which spinal energies are related to which. And so there's going to be one of the thoracics, let's just say it's thoracic number 2. So if that's related to the lungs and the respiratory system, then we put that up in the tray in order to help the lung meridian. And then we can use, as we said, the solfeggios before. Let's use 528 and 285, and then go to sacred geometry, get the golden ratio, something that helps to entrain that level of perfection of nature. So we put that in there. And then this would be like a lung boost or a lung upgrade that you could utilize. So that's an idea. And you could use both the lung and the large intestine. So pair them together. And paired together, that would be a more complete balancing. So if one is out of balance, even if the paired meridian it seems to be balanced, I would include both. So let's go ahead and let's do that as well. So let's go ahead and grab the large intestine meridian here. So the first thing we would do is put the large intestine meridian up at the top. Then we would go ahead and let's go ahead and utilize everything. Let's utilize the whole meridian, in fact, all the yellow, all the green, all the blue, and then along with everything. And so this is something, going back to Deborah, that she could do for herself in order to just work on total balancing. Or with the liver, she could do the same process for the tendons, doing liver and gallbladder connected. Let's also, if we can, in the chat, if we can keep our discussion related somehow to the genius, that would be really helpful as well. But everybody is coming with different levels of understanding about health. And so if we can keep it to questions related to the genius, that sort of keeps people from maybe getting overwhelmed or confused. So let's go ahead and let's take another volunteer. If you'd like to volunteer to have the meridians worked on, we'll go ahead and do that. So let's get another volunteer into the mix. Somebody would like to have themselves worked on, and we'll continue the balancing here. I'll be right back so we can do a little bit more balancing. We are actively working on the second set of success cards. It's been a huge demand for this. It's really helped people to be able to add to this ring binder if you have the first set. And you'll find this really helpful, especially when working with the different spinal segments, with the nogiers, with the different solfeggios and so forth. So Christine, welcome to our Genius community. We're definitely going to have you come on in just a moment. So let's just go ahead and go back to Deborah and see how she's doing. So we want to just sort of finish up with Deborah and talk with her. And we did get to 46% rectification. We're going to look at the aura. What were your thoughts as we were working and talking about?
Pretty interesting. I guess you're right, to pair them together. That's what I'm getting to put the two that pair together.
Is that something that you've done before?
Yes, I have. You know, it's kind of funny. It's like I'm really better at working at other people than I am at working at myself. But yet I understand myself better. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
No, that's amazing, about the genius. And look, we've got a lot of that sort of the more mustard color yellow is really starting to clear out. So that's looking really, really good. So you're definitely responding well to the energy. You see all of that green filling the
Yeah.
field. Let's go ahead and just do a quick before and after. So just going to the
Sure.
quick before and after, looking so much better.
Yep, definitely.
Beautiful.
And I agree with you on the fact that if you take your energy read and then you come back and take it again, I mean, energy moves all the time, doesn't it? It's always on the move. It's always changing. It can change with your mood.
Absolutely. And it's really important to understand that from the perspective of biofeedback, because a lot of people are not coming with sort of that essential understanding. So it does take a moment to sort of stop, slow down, and really get the education to better utilize the genius. And I appreciate that. I could tell from our trivia contest, a lot of people have done that. So that's really great. Well, Deborah, thank you so much for volunteering today.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. It's lovely to have such a nice group of folks joining us. So let's see, Christine is new to our community. Let's see if we can get her up here. We'll do a quick one. Christine's going to kind of go quickly because we're going to get towards the end of the hour here. We'd love to have you join us. So are you there? So let's see if we can get to speak with her and actually try to promote you here so you can see a little bit more easily. How are you today? Can you hear me, Christine?
There you are.
Yep, you're getting everything ready. There you go. Okay.
Yeah,
Hello, Christine. How are you, my dear?
Hi, Ariel. I'm doing well. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Good, wonderful. Well, tell us when you got your genius and what's been happening since.
All right. I got my genius March 1st.
It's very, very new to our community. So excited to have you.
And I'm just learning all about it. There's just a lot of new information. So yeah, I'm just learning and learning every day now since.
That is wonderful. No, so great to hear that. And have you done some scans on yourself?
Lots of it. I feel like I'm using it all the time just because I'm so eager to learn. And
that's a great way to learn.
Yeah, sometimes I'm worried. Oh, am I using it too much? Because I'm almost running all day because I'm watching and learning. And can you actually use it too much?
What's that?
Can you actually use it too much?
No, I don't think so. I think when you're new, there's sort of this tendency to want to scan everything. If you really think about it, there's so few ways that we really have to easily discover and know ourselves. And the newness of thinking like, it's not a substitute for lab tests. It's not a substitute for your MRI and so forth, but it's so spot on to what the patterns that are emerging. Wouldn't you want to know that information each and every day about yourself? And so especially in the beginning, it's like, you just want to sort of wrap your arms around all the information because information is powerful. And when it's been said to be something that only experts can discover and it's outside of yourself and it's going to be very expensive, we're sort of running around in the dark. And half the battle of being able to reclaim your health and really excel in this world is awareness. And so the genius really gives you that wonderful awareness. And so in the beginning, you definitely want to scan yourself sort of frequently. I don't really think that there's an excessive amount. The genius works in partnership with your own innate intelligence, and it will take what it likes and leave the rest. That being said, you usually do hit sort of a wall where you say like, I've sort of had enough for the day. And it's always good just to be mindful and respectful of that when you can.
Sounds good. And I saw that before you put 38 items in the quick set.
Yes.
I learned that you shouldn't do more than 20.
Okay, so there's been so first of all, the good thing about the genius and the Ryan Williams, the developer, has always said that there are different ways that people will use the genius, and we never want to say that something is verboten, like don't do it this way. You can do this any way that you want. We have always just outlined general guidance that we think will result in the best use of the genius. With the quick zap, I think the best use of it is sort of a focused balancing. But as we did today, if the focused balancing was all the meridian points of 2 meridians, there's nothing wrong with that because we were focusing on the paired meridian. So I don't recommend putting like 300 or 400 items into any tray because I think that you really diminish the ability of the body to sort of work on certain things. But that being said, as a general guideline, you can do more than 10, you can do more than 20 in the quick zap, and it doesn't diminish the ability of the quick zap to be effective. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. Thank you.
Okay, let's get your voice recording, Christine. I'm so happy that you've joined us today. So let's go ahead. I'll count you down. You say your name and then the AEIOUs. I'll start recording in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
Mijn naam is Christina Schauer-Fassler. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. And I would love to just get some more clarity about my sleep issues.
Okay, and you said that's actually about a sleep issue?
Yeah.
And you were talking, of course, you can talk in any language for the genius. Were you talking in your native language?
Yes, I do.
And what is that language?
Swiss German.
Swiss German.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I don't know while you were saying it, I was like, don't assume that it's German. I know sometimes we think people are speaking in Spanish and it's actually Portuguese. So
right.
I'm really glad that we got to clarify that. And of course, it works in any language. It's just listening and interpreting the tone of your voice. So let's see if I can get this to work a little bit more efficiently here. So just a quick smile from you. Lovely picture. Love it. I'm getting a little bit better at that on my end. Okay. So we've got the voice and the picture. And of course, I love the way that we work in class because it really just showcases the way that you could work with anyone, anywhere at any time. So it just really mimics or shows that Zoom that anybody could do. Would you like to say, can you think of an affirmation about your sleep, or just tell us a little bit about the sleep issue first?
Yeah, I guess the affirmation could be, it is safe to sleep deeply.
Okay, it is safe to sleep deeply.
Yeah.
It is safe to, okay, as I'm typing this in, tell us a little bit about what happens for sleep for you and what you're trying to improve.
I do not have restful sleep. It's hard for me to fall asleep and to stay asleep. I wake up a lot.
Hard to fall asleep and hard to stay asleep.
Yeah.
And what if you?
And I think it's very hormonal because the hormonals always show up, and heavy metal picks up that toxicity. But hormonals make sense. I had hormonal issues my whole life, pretty much.
You've had hormonal issues your whole life, and you're sort of in that realm of peri to menopause, and those are where sleep issues can become more pronounced if they existed before.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a beautiful aura. It looks very wonderful. Got all this beautiful green connected to the heart chakra. You've got the purple with the throat chakra being open and the blue. So it definitely looks like you've been working on yourself, you know, and definitely revealed in the aura. So it is looking very good. Well, let's see how it changes. And to the point of question people asking about the aura, we've actually over the past couple of months have done at least a couple of videos on the aura, but we certainly are happy to do another one. So it's a great suggestion. We always love all of your suggestions about what you'd like to focus on and see covered in the training. So we are going to run a little bit long today. That's okay if you want to hang in there. If you need to hop off, we are recording this. So let's jump right into the meridians that are coming up. So she has sleeping. Has there been anything that has helped your sleep over time? Any times when you found, oh my gosh, this really helped, but then maybe it didn't help over a while? So
I need to be very grounded and in my body. That helps. And
okay.
It's really hard for me to stay grounded and in my body.
Gotcha. Okay.
Also staying away from any devices 2 hours before sleep.
Oh, that's good to know.
Which is
that's
really
good to
hard
know.
Though. But yes.
Have you tried any of the blue blocking glasses?
Yeah. can you tell me because I'm just trying to do some research where I should go. Where can you tell me about those and where I can find them?
Absolutely. Let me work on you a little bit and we'll sort of go through the whole 9 yards here, but let me go ahead and get started working on you since we're running a little bit late. We'll come back and talk to you all about that. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So we're just going to go ahead and come back and talk with you in just a moment. So fantastic. So interesting. Large intestine comes up and gallbladder meridian and spleen meridian. So it's, you know, we want to think about this in terms of the sleep. The hours that are most affected by a large intestine imbalance is from 5 in the morning to 7 in the morning. So anytime that there's an issue with the actual meridian itself, you could look up the Chinese medicine time clock and ask if that person has an aggravation at that particular time. So for her, she didn't say it, but would it be an example would be she always gets woken up at 5 a.m. and finds it, you know, hard to get back to sleep if that's not the time that she wants to actually go back to sleep. So that would be an example. And there are other Chinese time clocks that are sort of like around 3 in the morning. And sometimes you find that people wake up at 3 in the morning. So we talked about the large intestine, the master of transportation paired with the lungs, balances the body's fluids and works with the lungs related to perspiration. Imbalances can cause constipation, abdominal pain, depression, and excessive worry. So wouldn't it be interesting if the sleep is related to a lot of thoughts, then that could have originated within the large intestine. So let's go ahead and let's get the large intestine itself. We'll put it in both places. Let's go ahead and start with it into the main hold tray. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill up the quick balance with reds and blues. And we'll also put it down below. And then let's look at the other meridians that are coming up here. So we've got the gallbladder meridian and a lot coming up in the gallbladder meridian. Let's look at the blues. So the gallbladder meridian we kind of talked about before. So we have some similar things. It aids in digestion. It's also helping to digest fats. Now, the meridian balance of the gallbladder can lead to insomnia. And so that's really interesting that it's one of the highest ones that's out of balance. I would think that based on what the client is telling me, I would really focus on this and its paired meridian. Let's see where the paired meridian is. So liver meridian is showing somewhat balance. I think I'm going to just ditch the large meridian. I'm going to spend all of my time focusing on that gallbladder meridian. So sorry, we've gotten a little bit. Okay, there we go. So let's go back to the gallbladder itself, look at it, and let's get all of these into the quick step. So this is what I would do for, as a practitioner for the client, is really focus on this particular pair of the meridians and then look at the liver meridian. So the liver detoxifies, it transforms nutrients, it rules the ligaments. But I think that doing the 2 pairs would be very, very helpful. So we have some points here in the liver meridian as well. Let's go ahead and get the reds. Let's get the blues. Let's go down here. Let's get the reds. Let's get the blues. Let's look at the different elements that we have here. And let's go ahead and see if we can find out some more information just about the liver meridian in general. So the liver meridian, I'm reading from the Mastery Guide. It's responsible for filtering, detoxifying, nourishing, replenishing, and restoring blood. Let's go ahead and balance it at the same time by changing the timer to 1 minute. Let's go ahead and balance that paired meridian for a minute. It controls the peripheral nervous system, right? Regulates muscular activity and tension. The inability to relax is often caused by liver meridian dysfunction, or they call it an imbalance in wood energy. So it's really interesting that the liver is going to be related to the inability to relax, and the gallbladder is going to be related to the insomnia. So interconnected, they're very, very much related to the insomnia issue. So it's a wonderful ability to be able to really pinpoint or understand the person at a deeper level. And then the meridians, just as a way of balancing or helping someone with frequency, are so much embodying of the person, mind, body, and spirit that you're really going to get a lot of bang for your buck for just balancing or working with the meridians. So really, it could work with the meridians overall. Quick question, would you explore the EMF interference? I'm finding that many are affected during the night when located near cell towers. So definitely, maybe you want to look at the meridians and find out if any of their issue, I don't know what their issues are related to meridian imbalances, which could, you could maybe work out the meridian balance. Remember, the body has an incredible ability to adapt, to be adaptive. So if you give it enough support, you know, if people are very EMF sensitive, that may be an emotional, it might be dehydration, it might be lack of electrical flow. It doesn't mean that the EMFs are not affecting the person, but it's possible you can make the situation better for them by giving them overall support. So even by just working with the meridians, but we certainly can cover things related to EMFs, and we certainly have some frequencies for that. Thank you for reposting the guide, Adina. I really appreciate it. And I'm not sure why we're focusing, why we're posting a Zoom. Please don't post any of your own Zooms in the chat. That's really not cool. We only posting certain approved Zooms. So please, I don't know why this Zoom has been posted, but please don't post any links that are outside of our Genius links. And we do appreciate you doing that. So it's interesting now, we just went into a different energy. If anybody posts their own like Zoom link, any external links, you'll actually be removed from the Zoom and your registration will be canceled. So please don't do that. And we know it's probably accidental or not intentional. So no worries at all. I'm trying to moderate, do a live stream, do a class at the same time. And it's really hard, but that is something that we really don't approve of. So thank you for not doing that. Okay, so fantastic. So we do see her now going into a deep dive into the physical, and we're seeing some liver and digestive stress, and also just probably some emotions that are waiting to be cleared from the system. So that's really interesting. So let's go back to the quick zap. And now let's see the effect of adding in some solfeggios. So it says 174 hertz, 639 hertz. Let's give it the 285 and the 528. So within the Success Desk reference cards, there are really better explanations for the different solfeggios. And so the solfeggios of 174 is about more security. So 174 is about feeling more grounded. 639 is about relationships. 528 is, of course, transformation and miracles. And 285 is going to be to restore organs to their home frequency. And then if we go to the Nogiers, let's see the Nogiers that are coming up for her. And there's a great, in the Success Desk reference cards, you really want to use them because they're helpful for understanding what the Nogier frequencies are. So Nogier letter A is 292 hertz, is related to things that are related to the nervous system. So I think that that's significant. So if you look at skin, eyes, teeth, ears, spine, but that's really more nerve. It says nerve repair. So that would be very significant. And then B is related to gallbladder and liver. And that is what we're working with. So we definitely want to incorporate Nogier B. So you're sort of, you're an energetic director and you're crafting what the energetic balanced elements would be. You're crafting the potion, the recipe, up in that quick zap or in the main whole tray. So that's what we're doing. You can see each thing supports the other, enhances the other, and you're going to move through things much, much more quickly. Okay, so we're balancing the gallbladder meridian, we're balancing the, we're balancing the liver meridian, which is the LR. We're working with the solfeggios, we're working with the Nogiers. You could add in sacred geometry, you could add in the flower essences. Those would all be really, really great to add. And we're going to see what the result of the 1 minute of balancing ends up in. But this would be great for Christine for the next maybe week to exclusively focus on gallbladder and liver, or just make it a central focus and see if it sort of changes the elements around the insomnia. So just sort of working and focusing on that one particular, and see if for you, if the liver and gallbladder come up for you in your checking of yourself. So let's go ahead and quickly see if we have any change here. Okay, fantastic. Very, very good. And absolutely wonderful. So look at the difference when we go here. So we're going to go here and we look at the original, sorry, that's not the original one. Here's the original one, right? This is the original one, which is interesting, which is sort of like a neutral point, or a point that she came in her own balancing. And then we go to the first minute where we didn't include the solfeggios and the nogies, but sometimes we're just getting into the mud and we're sort of working through things. And then we get into this one, and now the solfeggios and nogies are included. We get that beautiful red magenta, very, very high level opening of that crown chakra, allowing a lot of information in, a lot of healing information. You know, healing really comes from the person. The person makes the decision to heal. We give frequencies that stimulate the ability of the body to heal itself. Healing comes from within. Any other attempt to tell the person that it comes from without, it's a really long conversation. But I think that our focus with the genius is really showing people it comes a lot of times from, you know, combined frequencies, the intention of the other person, but ultimately it lands upon the person who makes the decision to change. You have everything within your body. A great meditation teacher once said, the greatest mystery of God is a human being. And your ability to heal yourself is so incredible, is so big, is so expansive. You have this whole universe within you, that to say that there's one thing outside of yourself that is going to heal you from a certain thing is so utterly ridiculous. Or even though med beds may bring something wonderful and miraculous, they're nothing more than echoes of things that already exist within you and your ability to profoundly heal yourself. Probably the only thing that blocks you from healing yourself is knowledge. It's one of the biggest things. So awareness through the genius, and then really sort of an understanding of how your body works through the understanding of the meridians, through the understanding of physiology. And these are all things that we try to share with you here. So let's bring back on Christine and talk with her and see how this information is landing with her. So Christine, if you have a moment, if you can rejoin us and just tell us your thoughts. Did you have any thoughts as we were going through your session about what we found or what we worked on?
Yes, that makes total sense. It's definitely 2 o'clock is the time I'm always awake. It's the liver time. I've been aware of that. Yeah, and I think you're saying working just with that for a week. I haven't done that. I think that's what I need to do. Also, the nausea ache, the skin came. I do have psoriasis my whole life. Makes a lot of sense. And probably placing with the liver.
But you know what, the skin issue is actually, I want you to study that large intestine and lung meridian. So the large intestine was another one that came up very, you know, in the red for you, and the large intestine is paired with the lung meridian. The lung meridian, when it is out of balance, something about the lungs and respiration is energetically related to the health of our skin. So read up on that. So there are 2 pairs that we've discovered today, large intestine and lung, and liver and gallbladder, that I think would be wonderful for you to sort of hyper focus on, and let us know if that is, you find that helpful.
Awesome. So would you treat them all together, or is it better to do it individual, like the large intestine
now,
and the lung together?
There is no right or wrong, which can sound kind of scary because you could actually combine them. But I think intuitively, ask yourself, when I check in intuitively, it makes sense to me to just focus on the paired together for 15 minutes or 30 minutes for one session. And then maybe in the evening, go and focus on the other pair.
I see. Perfect. Yeah, I'll do that. And can you tell me a little bit about the glasses, where I can get those glasses?
Yes, let me find out what I think the best, because we've gone through different iterations of blue blocking glasses, and I want to tell everybody in the weekly newsletter and just do a little bit of research about what I currently think are the best. I have a whole stack of them, but when you get a good pair, and I will tell you what I think is the best pair, they are very effective. Proper blue blocking glasses have been shown in studies to increase the levels of melatonin that people can produce, which just sort of emphasizes how much we are blocked from proper melatonin production through the screens. Another really important thing to do is to set, do you use an Android or do you use an Apple device?
Apple.
Okay, so Apple is actually fantastic because we're going to wrap up in just a moment. So if you need to jump off the stream or the Zoom, I totally understand. I'm going to wrap up in a moment, but let's just do this for fun to sort of wrap everything up. Let's go to our settings for an Apple device. And as we go through our settings for an Apple device, what we can find is that in the display and brightness, it actually asks us, do we want to set the night shift? And if you notice, my night shift is set for 23 hours a day and something like 59 minutes. So the reason I set it that way, when I set on night shift, it will give me sort of a yellow hue. It will block all of the blue light. And I choose to have it on almost all of the time because there is some preliminary evidence that looking at this much blue light, even during the day, may cause more wear and tear on the eye itself. But you also could have it start blocking after sunset. So the night shift, we used to use an app called Just Get Flux, and you can still get it and Just Get Flux. You can use it on your desktop, your laptop, but Apple, I have to give them credit. They really have stepped up to the plate and added a blue blocking measure within their own devices. So night shift is incredibly valuable, and I recommend that everybody use it at least after dark until the morning sunrise again, and it'll block all of that blue light right on your device. Make sense?
Yeah, great. Yeah, I've had it on at night, but you're right. I should have it on all day long.
Okay, Christine, we have to wind things up, but thank you so much for being part of our Genius community, and thank you for volunteering today.
Thank you.
It was absolutely wonderful to have Christine join us, and congratulations again for getting your Genius and for being part of our Genius community. We really appreciate you. So this has been a lecture about the meridians, and we always love your recommendations. So please send, well, I want a class on this. Can we cover this? And the aura is always a big interest. So maybe we'll compare the aura to the meridian results. We'll come back next week and we'll talk more about the governing vessel and the conception vessel, which are big meridians. So join us next week as we continue our discussion about the meridians. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye for now.